Hi there, my name's Oliver O'Grady. I'm the archaeologist working on the Living Lomonds project with OJT Heritage, and I'd just like to tell you a bit more about our dig that we've been doing at Chancefield Trenches near Falkland. It's our third big dig of the Living Lomonds archaeology project to discover the ancient Romans, as it's called. And we've finished now, so in a way this is my chance to say thank you to the huge amount of voluntary support we've had with this project over the last 3 years, in fact, and also just to tell you a bit about, well, what we found, because we've had lots of local interest, lots of excitement, folk coming down for our open days, we've had people bring their families, lots of locals, great to see, so thank you for that. And also our volunteers, we've had about 10 volunteers a day over 10 days. We braved through rain and thankfully not snow, but we did get some sun though, and so thank you to all of you for giving us a huge amount of help to move a lot of soil in quite a short amount of time. So what were we doing here? Well, as part of our landscape investigations we've been doing, we've focused on key sites in the landscape that help us tell something about the story of different places over the Living Lomonds area. And here at Falkland we really had a bit of a mystery to end on. A very special site, lots of theories locally and more widely among specialists about what it is. It's a series of trenches we've got here, and hopefully you can see one of them in the background where our trench was. The 5 large earthwork ditches and trenches with banks on either side cut through the landscape. Some people have suggested they could be something to do with the great medieval deer park at Falkland Palace, for managing deer being driven from the Lomond Hills into the park in the 15th and 16th century. Others, more recently archaeologists, have suggested there's no real great evidence for that. Maybe it's more like a sunken way, a trackway system, or a hollow way as they're sometimes called. And others think maybe it's just a quarry. So we had a bit of a mystery, as I say. And what did we do? Well, we've dug a 10-metre trench across 2 of these trenches, lots of trenches. One which is very much evident and open behind me here, and another one that I'm standing on which seemed to peter out, possibly because the other one cut it. So we're trying to understand how do these 2 features relate to each other, and could that help us date the site and say a bit about why it's here in the first place. But what did we find? Well, we dug a very deep hole behind me. Just down here we've got about a metre further down that we've dug to create a kind of 3-metre deep trench, which seems to have been cut purposely through the sandstone bedrock. Lots of sandstone bedding, which you can see the tool marks along the edge. And at the base of that trench, water has eroded the base of the sandstone, suggesting that of course it was open to the elements for many, many years. And in the infill of that, successive soils have built up over generations and generations, if not hundreds of years, who knows. We're going to have to get some radiocarbon dating out of the base of that trench. We didn't get a huge number of finds out of the actual infills, apart from in the upper level where we got a Victorian griddle handle, which was quite nice. But the interesting thing about all those soils is that they've been cut, they've been managed. So somebody in the past has dug it out and maintained this furrow through the landscape, this trench. So that tells us that it's man-made, that it's been maintained. But what for? Well, we found some other evidence up at the top of our trench here, where through the sands that you can see cut through hopefully there, we got a series of banks that had been thrown up, made of soil, redeposited soils. And a whole series of those that told us successively the trench has been dug out and a boundary bank of some kind has been built on either side. So that is also man-made, which was interesting. And one of the great things about that particular area of trench is that we got lots of finds out of it. And those finds turned out not to be medieval. Nothing particularly to do with deer, in fact, as far as we know. We got lots of pieces of worked flints. And anyone that knows anything about prehistoric archaeology more generally will tell you that flints are one of the main indicators of human occupation and activity. and there are no local flint sources here, so these must have come from a long distance. And there are a range of bits of debitage, as we say, with people making tools and the remains left behind them. Little bits of cores of flint where blades were made, and in fact we got one possible broken blade as well. So these probably date from the Neolithic to early Bronze Age. Amazing! So we didn't know there was any prehistoric activity here, but it suggests that there's been people in this landscape around Chancefield and around this site for millennia, thousands of years. Whether or not it directly dates these big gullies, it can't be said at the moment, because as I said, they all came from redeposited soils that have been moved from somewhere else. So we're going to have to wait patiently for our radiocarbon dates to tell us just how old this big furrow was. But as I said, putting all that together, we've got a man-made declivity here in the sandstone. It's been maintained and opened up and cleared of soil and material, kept open, and we've also got a series of banks along the top. To me, that sounds very like a trackway. It's very similar to other examples from England, Wales, and indeed the continent, where trackways have boundary features along the side of them to stop cattle straying into them. But what it tells us possibly is that we've got a routeway through the landscape here from the area of Falkland along the north side of the Lomonds. Possibly folks might have dated for thousands of years. Amazing! So, brilliant result for me. Shame we didn't get clear evidence of the deer park theory, but just wait in the wings and we'll see if we get our radiocarbon dates. Who knows? Archaeology is all about surprises, and our team here of very hard-working volunteers have thrown up a real good piece of research, which is going to rewrite some of the scientific books and articles on this theory of the deer park and the trackway here at Falkland. So thanks again, and see you some other time.